Welcome to the Wisdom Check by Tabletop to Keyboard. This is going to be our bi-weekly podcast where we discuss things such as Dungeons and Dragons. Actually, I think maybe we need to turn up my mic a little bit, guys. How about some more gain?
This is the intro to end all intros. Talk about Dungeons, Dragons, and
Now, I don't think that's proper. This is a family show after all. This is the intro we could use, fellas. It's good, clean fun for everyone. Welcome to the Wisdom Check, where we have wholesome conversations about the dilemmas we face every day.
Nah, hold on a second. I got your intro right here. Yeah, that's better. Welcome to the Wisdom Check, where I'm right, just wrong. We're going to have guests on to talk about it. It's going to be awesome, because I said so.
He is right. He did say so. I don't know. Is surf music the best music for a podcast about D&D?
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
This just in, nobody can agree on our intro for this podcast. So we're just going to start. Welcome to the Wisdom Check. Roll for initiative. Fuck. A 1. It's like every time.
All right, and we are live.
All right, welcome everybody. This is the Wisdom Check. I am Dustin. With me on the other side of the screen there is Jeff.
Hey.
And coming to us today in audio form only is Cosmo Joe. He runs 66 Studios. Joe, why don't you go ahead and say hi to everybody real fast here?
Hi, I'm Cosmo Joe. I'm the owner of Studio 66.
And there he is. So, yeah, you're right, Levi. We need to do a new intro. We've been talking about one for a while, but thank you, Fruitzilla, for the 100 bits already before we even got going tonight. It's always good to see you here. Off the top, we do have a little housekeeping here. First and foremost, we do like to thank our sponsors, Die Hard Dice, and also we have coming up soon. There's going to be a giveaway for people who are subs to our channel here, and it's going to be this really, really nice looking piece of necklace.
Yeah, those are cool.
With dice, lava rocks, and it actually has a sterling silver cord that runs through it with a magnetic clasp. So, hoping they got it on screen a little better this time than last time.
Yeah, it's looking
That was
good.
the goal tonight, was to actually get it on the screen. I talked about it last time, and apparently the way it was cut, I didn't realize I didn't have it on screen. So,
Did you mention who it was that made that?
It's made by Tara Jane Sands, the voice actor. Does Bulbasaur and many other anime voices throughout a 20-some year career of doing voice acting. So
Fantastic. Well,
we'll be giving that away soon.
now we got our bookkeeping out of the way. Let's dig in a little bit here and get to know our guests. So we are kind of coming in on a wonderful day here, and that's because you're starting up a Kickstarter, and that's going to be due out tomorrow, you said. And we're really fascinated to hear a little bit about this project and how it is that you kind of got involved doing what you're doing.
Well, sure. That's a couple of questions. The RPEX project is it's a full-scale dungeon adventure that we're bringing to conventions that people can go through, and you can like play as your favorite character and watch for traps, explore, and solve puzzles and all that stuff. So, and we're kicking that off tomorrow. Now, we've already built the dungeon, but we're kicking off the magic items that you'll find by doing the quests. We've gotten a nice soft enamel pins, which are really very attractive, and they represent the magic items. So, say for example, if you had a sword +1, you'd have the pin for the sword. You get to wear it on your jacket.
Nice.
That is awesome. Real quick, we are having a raid of 27 people from Laugh Love Lindy coming in. So welcome, raiders.
Hey, thanks for joining us.
I don't know if they've landed yet. I haven't seen any of the spam raids, but they'll be here in a second. I'm just interrupting you for a second, Joe, because once they're here, I want you to start talking about that again. All these new people joining in here, hear what we're referring to. Here we are. I see him starting to type in there now. So welcome, Raiders from Laugh Love Lindy. We're here today on the Wisdom Check with Cosmo Joe, and he is starting a Kickstarter tomorrow called RPEX. And tell us again a little there, Joe, about what you got going on with it.
Sure. RPEX is a full-scale dungeon adventure. So, I mean, it's made for role-playing gamers like us. You get to walk through playing as your favorite characters, solving puzzles, going on a quest, fighting monsters with a D20 game mechanic. And it's all done in full scale, like in real life. We'll come to a convention and build this dungeon in the dungeon hall.
Holy cow.
You do the adventure, and afterwards, you'll be rewarded with one of these fancy soft enamel pins in the form of a magic item. And, to try to raise money for the full scale.
Man, that's freaking cool. Yeah.
Wow. So you're talking actual scale dungeons. Like I've seen a lot of dungeon maps for D&D in my time. Those things can be pretty ginormous. Now I don't know what convention halls you go into, but that's a lot of room. How do you get that much room at a convention hall, like during a convention? Did we lose him?
Oh, I hope not. May have lost a little audio. It's a fantastic question.
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch the question.
He's back. All right. I was saying I've seen a lot of D&D dungeon maps. They're actually quite huge.
Oh yeah.
So at a convention, how do you get that much space? Like, because I can imagine what a booth costs, let alone an entire hall.
Oh, right on. Yeah. So, like for example, at Gen Con, where booth space is like, $2,000 for a 10 by 10, we don't put it in the exhibit hall. We work something out with them where we're off in a different hall where they just kind of give us the space in exchange for us bringing hundreds of events.
Gotcha.
So you're looking at sort of off-site, like nearby, like venues where you can host this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, a lot of these convention centers have, separate halls and such like that too. I imagine for Gen Con, we're going to be in like, the Crown Plaza or the Sheridan. Or something.
Sure. That makes sense.
So then,
now for Gary Con, they're actually giving us our own building, the Ski Chalet.
A whole building.
That just sounds expensive already. That sounds great.
Man, so what all goes into the fabrication of this? I mean, it sounds like a massive undertaking getting all this stuff put together.
It is. We've been working on it for 2 years, building it a piece at a time. The first part I built was just a hallway, 12 feet long, 4 feet wide. Oh, and to answer your question before real quick, we don't have 5-foot squares.
Well, we lost the audio a little bit there, sounds like. We don't have 5-foot squares, but we have blank. Really wide ones.
So, I mean, the 2-foot squares work out pretty nice. It makes it, it's pretty action-packed, 5-foot squares, we would need a lot of space to fully
done. Yeah.
All right,
2-foot squares, not so bad. Most of our dungeons are about 2,000 square feet. So
yeah, that's still plenty of room to play.
Yeah, it's plenty of room to play. Tons of fun too,
Nice.
So do you have hired staff that plays like all the goblins, orcs, whatever you put into that dungeon for the day?
Now let's not go around throwing that word "hired" around.
Man.
I've got my own crew, and we've got a lot of volunteers too, and people have the opportunity to volunteer at the con too to play some of the lower level monsters. But yeah, when you face that lich boss or that ogre boss, that's definitely one of my crew members ready to interact with you.
That'd be fun.
Awesome.
So anyone could volunteer to do that, or is it like a special process to get involved?
Well, we have a little bit of a vetting process, but at the cons we're always looking for. Like, say, for example, you were good to go on a quest where you were going to fight, like, the demon lord Demos, all right? Well, he'd probably have some minions with him, so there's plenty of opportunity to get to play these minions, even just by regular convention goers, where in 15 minutes we've got them ready to go.
And what about costuming? Is that a big element of this as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we've got costumes. We've got a 7-foot ogre costume, where we're just one of our guys is kind of clomping around in the thing, and he's got giant feet and a big mace and towers over you. Very fun.
Oh, that's so
amazing.
Cool.
That'd be so awesome to get to do. Like, I'm definitely going to have to keep an eye out.
And it's like a regular quest,
So what was the inspiration for this? Like, how did you get started?
I've been GMing since I discovered D&D when I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been running weekly games for a long time, and once we
lost you again there, Joe.
The internet
having
has
a little,
been a little dicey.
this little extra thing, and before you know it,
We lost a little bit of your audio there for a second, but
oh yeah, sorry about that.
it's okay. Just
All right.
getting a little touch and go
I
here
have no
for.
internet up here in the Great North Woods, I guess.
Yeah, we've had a few guests that have had that problem. We
Yep.
live out in the rural areas sometimes, so we totally understand. We're just trying to make sure we catch everything that you're commenting on, so that people can follow what.
So you were saying you got your start when you were 18, and then you were doing a weekly game, and then
Oh yeah,
from
that's
there,
right. I've been doing weekly games for the past 20 years.
nice.
Off and on, but for the most part, a weekly game. And I was running a weekly game here at Studio 66, and we bought this big 8,000-foot warehouse. We only needed about half of the space, so the other space, I just started building these foam walls and hooking up these little tripwire traps and
For the other
setting up
staff.
these hinges to drop stuff on. You tripped them, and letting my group. Yeah.
Do you have any experience with like the foam sword board like recreationist type people? Like, have you worked with them at all on this sort of thing?
Oh, sure. So I've talked to a lot of LARPing groups and a lot of LARP weapon creators,
Uh-huh.
and they've all had a lot of really great input. In fact, I would say that's the best thing about art. It's very rare you can talk to somebody and not get something out of it.
Oh, absolutely.
That
yeah.
being said, we're very different from the LARPers in that you're never sword fighting with RPEX. It's all
Mhm.
resolved with a D20. So at no point will you need to be a better swordsman than I. It won't matter. In fact, it'll get you kicked out.
So there's some pretty strict non-contact rules in there, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. It's an immersive experience, and you take the combat skill part out of it, and suddenly it becomes all about your skill as a player.
Mhm.
Movement matters. There's squares on
Right.
the ground. Matters if you're, if you got a couple of people around the ogre, if you're just facing him yourself. Just like in a D&D game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm
I don't know
assuming
if you guys have heard of that, but it's one of these RPGs. It's a lesson,
D&D. It sounds weird. I don't know. How do you win?
How do you
though. You
win?
don't. You spending money.
That's right.
Oh man. So has D&D been kind of your bread and butter this whole time, or have you kind of branched into other game systems? What's your stable?
I loved second edition so much. And then third edition, when that came out, it became my favorite edition.
Mm-hmm.
I love fifth edition too, but let me tell you, Hackmaster has a lot to offer. I would say, because I played Castles and Crusades and a lot of other game systems, but Hackmaster just has a lot going for it. They've got a lot of really ingenious mechanics involved in the game.
So throwing back to the old school.
Yep.
Are those the mechanics that your games are based on then when you do a RPEX dungeon? Is that what you got in mind? Like
I
old
would
school
say
second
that-
ed rules?
There's definitely some old school feel to it,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say that we've gone with a lot of the efficiencies of newer rule systems, like 5th edition. And that being said, we included a lot of customization that 3rd edition brought to the table.
Yeah, that's
3rd
fun.
edition had a lot of feats that you could choose from, and we've got a similar thing with talent. So you could create your sorceress who uses full plate mail and rides a dragon, or your fighter who uses no armor but dodges out of the way of everything. Customization.
Very
That's
cool. So
I mean, because with 5th ed being so popular and
Mhm.
bringing in a whole new wave of new gamers who didn't see 2nd or 3rd ed necessarily, like there is maybe a little learning curve there, but maybe, if there's enough of it that feels like 5th ed to them, maybe it won't be quite the stretch,
That's right.
initially. They'll feel a little more at home in there. Because I think that's
Mhm.
really got to be, in part, like kind of part of your target audience for sure, is getting that new wave of gamers in.
100%. And we do use a D20 mechanic,
Mhm.
so it's going to be very familiar to any D&D player. And we tell people you don't need to know how to play RPEX to play.
Mhm.
Just show up. We'll tell you how to play. It's no problem. You don't need to know the game mechanics at all to play the game.
nice.
Instead, once you get into it, we let you make a character once you've earned 3rd level. So at that point, you do want to get away from the pre-gens and start making.
And so these are persistent characters then. So you take them to other conventions and kind of continue your story, or is this a one and done kind of thing, or?
So the experience points are persistent, and you get to carry them from convention to convention. And at that point, you can take your experience points and make any character you want that's appropriate level. So once you've earned 5th level, you could show up and say, I'm going to make a sorceress this time, or I'm going to make a rogue this time.
Nice.
And then show up at the next con with the same experience and make a different class. Once you're at 8th level, it starts getting weird. You got to lock into a character then, because then you're earning things like changes to the game world. But
cool.
That's for the further on. I mean, you would need to come to several conventions to start earning that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know they're real popular and they're pretty widespread right now. Are things like, oh man, I lost the word. What I was escape rooms.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Where those things are, you can find them in a lot more cities now than what they were initially. Like long-term goal, do you think if this thing takes off, like, do you start putting down like actual physical facilities in places where people could go and create like Adventure League games the way they do for, Adventures League? Like, could you have that? Is that like an in-game goal for you with this? Like, if it takes off?
Oh yeah, I love that idea. I love the idea of, in fact, the original plan was to create like a little resort where we'd be able to run this all the time. I've since personally, kind of switched that goal, but I really hope for other people to want to do that. That's for sure. We also like the idea that eventually we could franchise it out and other people could run their own little RPEX adventure.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And that's how like Adventures League works already, right? Mm-hmm. You go to your local game shop, you play with a local guy who's kind of certified or whatever with Adventures League, and that's how you get your character in the system, everything else. So, and that's where you could do your escape rooms in every major city and then even smaller cities as you move along, essentially the same sort of deal.
Yeah, at that point.
And we can fit in a pretty small space. At GaryCon, we fit in a room that was only 20 by 30 feet.
Wow.
Yeah,
that is a tight squeeze.
Have to get creative for that one.
Yeah, I could imagine. Yeah, that is an escape room at that point. That's
just find the exits. Where's the emergency exit? Fire code violations everywhere. Oh man.
Oh man.
Yeah, you mentioned the escape room thing. Actually, that's an important part of what's going on that's led to this too. I think. As you said, like general people that are just now getting into RPGs, the same thing with the escape rooms. It's really adding a little slice of adventure to a lot of people that aren't normally used to experiencing it. Mm-hmm. We've tried to incorporate that into what we've got going on too. So that way, even somebody who's never played an RPG can really come and experience it, and maybe afterwards think about sitting down to the table and playing an RPG.
Yeah, and that's a really cool thing. There's so many new vectors to get into the hobbies. It used to be it's like one way. You had the one friend who knew what was going down, and they had the one stack of books to rule them all, and you just hoped to go with their style of game, and that was it. It
used to be like the Jedi thing where they had to take one Padawan learner, and you had to spend like 10 years of training under them to get into the hobby, so that you even knew what the hell was going on.
I first exposed D&D was in junior high, and I was not cool enough for them to let me into their group, so I had to wait until I was...
How do you not be cool enough to make it into the D&D group? I mean,
yeah,
how does that
happen?
Junior high. Plus, all the cool kids are playing it now, right, guys? So.
Yeah, everybody's playing it.
It does seem that way.
It's so different.
Oh, the Fruitzilla train has begun.
Fruitzilla train of subs coming in here. Thank you, Fruit.
Much appreciated. Fruitzilla is our mega fan there, Joe, and he keeps coming in here, and he has apparently gifted 94 subscriptions to our channel to people in our chat over the course of the last couple months, and that is tremendous. So thank you very much for that.
He finds 6 more before we're done to make it a cool 100.
I don't know. Is he going to be able to top 100? I don't know. It's a milestone that I never thought we'd be crossing, but there it is.
Yeah.
That's a good person to have on your team right there.
Amen.
Dude, we love Fruit.
Thank you, buddy.
So.
Well, speaking of...
damn, only 94.
Well, speaking of that, hey, what's up there? Speaking of that, what about the Kickstarter on this? How are people going to be able to help you make this thing go?
Sure. So, I mean, first of all, obviously, with every Kickstarter, people just talking about it and sharing it is obviously a big thing.
Mhm.
The Kickstarter itself, really, it's an opportunity for people to back it and get some of these great magic item pins at essentially like half the price. So,
Nice.
that's how they can show us their support.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
And when they go to cons, what's the entry fee looking like? What's the barrier of entry, I guess we'll say?
Okay, so for example, if somebody was to want to go to Gamehole Con in Madison, you're going to that one in a couple of weeks.
That's right.
And they want to experience an RPEX event. I think we're running 10 events each day, and you would just sign up right through the Gamehole Con site. I think it's $30 at Gamehole Con, and it's a 2-hour gaming experience. You come interact with our NPCs and go on a quest, and hopefully succeed and be rewarded, or fail and be laughed at.
That's so sweet. Oh man.
So sign up right through with the convention, right through their website.
Gotcha. Well, that makes that pretty easy then. So it definitely sounds like something that would be a lot of fun to get involved in. And definitely people in the chat here, check it out if you're at some of these conventions. And if you haven't had a chance to go to conventions, you definitely want to. It's really, really a great time.
I agree with that. Conventions, I just started going to conventions 8 years ago, and it's changed my entire perspective on what this game industry is. Before I started going to conventions, it was just me and the 5 people I knew who played the game. Now it's like a whole world of people. It's really fun.
It really is crazy.
I've made more friends in the last 7 years than I've made in my entire life.
Man. Yeah, so do you sit in on a lot of tables, or you kind of stick with your guys that you typically play with, or what's your shtick?
I'm running a lot of games at these events usually. Yeah. So I like to make up games like a lot of creative people do, and I'll make up a game and prototype it and then bring it to a con and run it 6 times and never run it again. Just have a good time with it.
Nice. So you're talking about actual game systems then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. So what's an example of one that you've kind of put together and you're proud of?
Well, we made a game called Proposition 215, which was set in the 90s in California, and it was kind of this tongue-in-cheek game about the Medical Marijuana Act, where you would be a farmer and you'd be growing all these different crops, but you'd have all these crazy California union laws to deal with and stuff. It was just a fun game, trying to become a millionaire growing medical marijuana.
What?
Prop 250.
That is wild, man. It's like usually I'm used to people coming in and being like, oh yeah, I made another Minotaur battle scene, I did not see that one coming.
Well, you got to be creative, man. I mean, anybody can give you a game where it's like my Minotaur is going to battle your dwarf. Actually, wait, that sounds good. Don't steal that. I'm going to use that one.
Yeah, creativity is king, man. So you were an artist and are an artist. What was the origin of that?
Sure. Well, I got my start. So, I mean, I went to school for art. I went to the local college, University of Oshkosh, and stuff like that. But I didn't start seriously doing it until 2008. So after the crazy collapse of the economy and stuff, and I'm a younger guy then than I am now, and I was working as the regional manager for a healthcare company. And I was just like, forget it. I'm disillusioned. I have no faith in the system. And I took a bunch of cans of spray paint, put them in a suitcase, and went downtown Madison and started painting pictures on the street corner.
Wow.
And I quit my job and just started doing that. I did that for a summer, loved it, and so I did it for 8 more summers.
So you just dove straight in there, No,
I did.
Net ready to go.
I loved doing it. I'd get huge crowds of people, encouraging me and watching me paint.
Oh, that's fun.
I was fortunate enough, the New York Times called me mesmerizing when they saw the show. And, so it was just, stuff like that, just following my passion and really, really following my heart. So, yeah, painting pictures.
I'll tell you what, when your name was first passed along to me, the first thing I did was I went on YouTube and I did a little search and I saw some of your work that you were doing out there, kind of almost like street performing, doing spray paint work stuff. And I was like, watching, I was like, man, this is incredible. Like, because when you're in the middle of doing it, like, you don't realize exactly what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, it's like pulling the curtain off, and all of a sudden this piece of art's done, and you hold it up, and you're like, holy cow, look at that. That's amazing. I just watched him do this, and I felt like it looked like something I could do myself, but I know there's no way I could. And I'm just there watching, I'm like, man, I don't understand how he just made that happen. Like, it's phenomenal.
I bet you with some practice you could do it, man. I bet you could.
That's what they always say when they have all that artistic talent.
Talent is just the end result of practice, man.
Well, that's
all
true.
it is. I painted over 10,000 of those paintings, so I mean,
Wow.
I'm well practiced.
They are incredible to see one done, like, even in real time. Like, you see, I think a lot of people see the end product sometime, and they imagine that it was like months and months.
Mhm.
And I mean, I watched a video. You did this thing in like 5 minutes. Like, it was like,
Wow.
it's just boom, and it was done. I was like, wow, that is crazy. It was like outer space and planets and stuff. I was like, that thing is nuts.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, when I first started doing it, I couldn't get a permit to do it anywhere.
Oh,
so
imagine.
I'd say go downtown Indy or something and try to do it, and they'd shut me down in like 10 minutes. So I had to learn how to do like 2 or 3 paintings in 10 minutes, get a crowd, impress people, and then, while they were shutting me down, I just, the police were always nice about me selling a few paintings.
Oh, that's nice. You got to know the law
Sell
really
your
well then.
paintings for the bell money, right? When they had the roll. Look, officer, you could ticket me. Just let me sell it first so I can pay the ticket. I'll be
Paint
on
something
my
on the
way.
ticket itself, sell the ticket.
How much is the ticket? $65. All right, hey, who wants some of my smart work?
So is spray paint your original love, or is that kind of a new thing for you?
Well, like I said, that was about, I guess that was
Said
12
2008.
years ago.
Yeah.
For that, I was just all about acrylic and oil painting, and I still do some of that too. I actually have a little gallery in the shop here, and we do an open house and do a little art show every once in a while. So.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I love to paint, but I love other people's artwork too. Like, for example, the pins for the RPEX project.
Mhm.
Most of those are done by other artists. We've got a very
Oh,
talented
cool.
team of like 9 different artists that worked on that project. So.
Any particular artists you can kind of plug away here?
Well, I'll throw a word out for Stephen Crow. He's up and coming, but super talented. He produced a lot of the pins for this project, and he was actually added on about halfway in too. So
Nice.
And we couldn't get your video feed in tonight, but the picture we have of you that you sent, those are the pins actually it shows there on your coat, or the pins you're talking about, right?
Yep.
Just so
Yep, those are some of the ones we already have samples for. Yep, we actually
Very
have
sweet.
75 pins in total. For the project.
75.
and
Nice.
if you pledge your Kickstarter here, I'm looking at, you get some of these pins with it, correct?
That's right.
That
That's
is one of the
exactly what
rewards.
Kickstarter's for.
Yep. And that's
Yep. It's for the pins as reward. So yeah, so the more you pledge, obviously, the more pins you get, and then we've got some pins that are like crazy, unique pins that we'll make, and we'll only make 5 of them, and you'll get 3, and
Nice.
the other 2 will be locked in the vault, and all that stuff.
you gotta love that. Limited edition.
Usual stuff, Smart +1, your boots of dexterity,
Mhm.
stuff.
Now, so are these pins then going to be things that are part of the RPEX experience?
Yeah,
Like,
those are the magic
yeah.
items.
Is that how that's going to work?
That's exactly how it works. So, for example, let's say you show up and you buy studded leather +1, well, then you're going to have that. Your AC is going to be 1 higher than somebody with normal studded leather. And then let's say you go on a quest, and while you're on the quest, you find the gem of I can't get hurt anymore, so suck it. Well, then then next time you come, you've got that gem, and you can not get hurt anymore.
It's an oddly specific item.
So when so anyone who decides tomorrow, because this thing kicks off tomorrow, who wants to go into the Kickstarter and pledge,
That's right.
can buy themselves. They're going shopping in game here is what they're doing. They're
That's
getting themselves their items. They're getting themselves some scrolls or whatever. They're ready to go then if the first time they show up to play.
That's right. I mean, if you want to show up to Game Hole day 1 and already just be rocking it, please do. I mean, thank you also.
Now, how many cons are you set up for?
To get these pins too, though, like we'll have tournaments and stuff, even for the big ones, even for the big $1,000 artifacts. I mean, there will be ways to get these just with excellent gameplay too. So a little pay to play, a little excellence rewarded.
Well, I mean, and this is for people who are getting in at the ground level. You know, I mean,
That's
so
right.
you got to have something to provide them, and then when they go have a good time with it, they can start to tell all their friends about what a great time they had in this experience. Or they're bringing their friends with them, you know, and then we see this in the video game world all the time.
Oh,
This
sure.
This is not unusual in the video games, so it's just interesting to see that same model being used in a live action setting, which is
Oh yeah. Oh no, I see that. You know, my fiance Victoria and my friends, they all play Apex, and they're all buying, they're all spending money just to make the character look different. I mean, it's not even
just
not
the
even giving them any
cosmetics.
pluses in the game. So
God, cosmetics, man. People love that stuff.
That's
Hey,
what's
I
coming
do that
next.
on
You
artists.
can
Yeah,
show, you
makes
can show up
sense.
at RPEX and you can go over to the $20, the $40, or the $60 wardrobe hall to pick out your costume for your day. While you're just like the cash shops on all the games, right? Like,
Yeah, well, exactly, right?
Man, that's
if your character falls over dead, right? One of the officials runs out, stands over, and is like, "Continue 9, 8." Quarters.
that's so good. So,
That'd be amazing. I would pay just to have that happen once.
So all this,
one of the first times that we ran RPEX at the shop here, we did like a playtest event, and we gave all the playtesters the option to buy. We printed off a book, a playtest version of the book. Only 100 of them were made, and we gave people the option to buy it for like $15. And we also gave anybody who bought it like some bonus experience points, so they started at like a higher level. And one time, one of my GMs was running a quest, and these guys, they're having a hard time. You know, everybody's knocked down, they're almost dead. And one guy, he says, "What should I do?" And his buddy looks at him and he says, "You should have bought the book."
oh, so much wisdom packed in that one conversation piece. So, you know, all this real dungeon kind of scenario here, the full-on production comes from another project that you work on, and that's making the gaming tables, right?
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. So the gaming tables gave us the workshop that we needed to make these props and such anyway. And selling so many gaming tables has obviously helped give us the funding and the resources that we've needed to pursue this too.
Oh, for sure. And for a lot of people in our audience, you know, a lot of people are doing the digital thing, but a lot of people still really enjoy doing the live experience. And we just actually got an opportunity to play live for first time in a long time. And God, the idea of having one of those gaming tables has always just been like a dream. You know, like it just really changes the dynamic of the experience of sitting around. You know, it's not the coffee table anymore. It's this just Rolls Royce version of the table.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what people are looking for. Is they're looking to really experience it. People are willing to spend money on this hobby. You know,
Oh yeah,
a $3,000 game table, or I mean, $3,000 in miniatures. Does that even get you any miniatures?
Like 2? Yeah. So what are some of the features that they might find in some of these tables?
Well, the main feature of our tables, and I think probably one of the largest reasons people buy from us, is because we have the player stations all around the table. Every player has their own spot where they can put their core rule books. They fit in there nice and snug sideways. And having that versus drawers allows you access to all that stuff all the time. You play on top. You've got your stuff in your player station. And then you've got your action in the recess center area of the table. So I think people really like that. There are a couple other table companies that make a table similar to ours that might have drawers and such. But we really believe our stations are far superior. And then there's plenty of tables that just have the recessed area and, nothing for you as the player. So
Yeah, it's nice having those little spots, you know, keep your drink, keep your books safe, you know, keep your dice when they're not doing so hot. You know?
Exactly. And then we also have on the GM side, we have a removable top that pops up into an automatic GM screen too.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's nice.
People like that one. We debuted that one at GaryCon 2 years ago with we created the GaryCon 10 exclusive game table for that one. So
Very cool.
Oh, nice.
that was very fun. Very exclusive.
Now, for our audience out there, how many of you guys are having the opportunity to play in person these days versus digital? Is that an experience you're getting enough of? I'm sure the answer is going to be no to that one. But, what are some things you would want in your gaming den if you had the options, unlimited access?
Yeah, me and my wife were actually looking at the gaming tables at Gen Con. We went around to a couple of vendors we were looking because we're in the business of getting a new dining room table.
Ooh.
And I was telling my wife, I'm like, we're going to spend some money on a dining room table. I'm like, I want to get one of these that has like the really nice top that it could be dining room table that like just pop it off and you get your gaming table underneath it. Because like we just hosted I was at live game with Jeff and Levi and the guys here at T2KB. We played in person this weekend, but my wife actually had a bunch of friends come over and they played just board games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're on the dining room table, and I'm like, we need to get a gaming table, and there's what we need.
And a board game table would be nice too. Just built-in storage for all of your games.
It is. You're right. Yeah, you have bits and stuff right in there. So, man, I'm looking at it. I'm seriously looking at it.
Yeah, it's nice. You tell your wife you can eat on these tables too. I mean, you absolutely can.
That's right.
Oh,
I'd never eat on mine.
Yeah.
I know that's the only concern is I still have some younger kids. I'd be worried about what might spill down into them at some point or another. But they get another year or two older. If I can make this dining table last just a little bit longer, I'm going to get one.
Yeah, so those are cool products. That's one of those things when you go to the conventions, you kind of walk past them, you're just like, oh man, I'm going to have to stand by this for a little while. Just get the feeling,
That's how I felt right up until I made my own. And I was like, oh yeah.
You just came into it and just decided, I'm just going to do this on my own?
Well, I've got a small team of talented carpenters here, so that was, we started with all the knowledge, so that was a big,
that's a big leg up.
Big bonus. But yeah, I mean, the first table I made actually was very different from the ones we make now. The first table I made, I actually painted a picture on the entire 8-foot by 4-foot. So it's like an overland scene.
Yeah.
I put this coating over it that you could use dry erase marker on. So, I mean, anytime I wanted a little forest scene or a little cave battle or whatever, it was just waiting for me there. And that was my original thought when we started this company, that we'd make those.
Little inserts you can replace.
That were just unpainted, and everybody wanted those immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Diversity. So, all right.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of curious. Maybe you could do like inserts, so like you have, replaceable like centerpieces.
See, I like that idea. What we did is we went with a gridded plexiglass, so now you can just slide any map you want underneath it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, because it's kind of what we're doing right now with the Roll20. Our DM, come up with a nice, beautiful map that he's painted together, and then, put the grid overlay over the top of that, and we kind of move our menus around. But, God, it's so good to having a physical thing there.
It is nice. I'm telling you, the gridded plexi, it's a nice feature. I don't know how I'd go. When I go to cons and I have to run on like a normal like battle mat or whatever, I'm like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, you never quite get it all cleaned up. Stuff gets smudged real easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got your link stuck out there now, so people can take a look at that.
I fished up a link to your website there. I dropped it in the chat for people if they want to go over and check out your tables. That'll take them over to the tables where they can see a couple of examples of your. Actually, it looks like you got dice here too. Dice tables, all sorts of good stuff here that you do it. And that's Studio 6D6.
Yeah,
that is us. We're a 6-level fireball.
6-level fire, which hurts quite a bit. We learned in live game.
Oh, sure did. Hot. Oh man. So let's see. We were talking a bit about the dungeon experience, and how many cons are you doing this year, and how many are going to actually have that?
So this year we did GaryCon, and we're doing GameholeCon in a couple of weeks. That's it for this year. This was a playtesting year. Next year we'll be really hitting in earnest. We'll be doing GaryCon right away. We're working with Origins. We're hoping to be there.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Be at Gen Con and GameholeCon again. Gen Con is really the big one. It's the most important one to be at. I mean, you could really reach a lot of people. So
yeah, I mean, if Dragon Con wasn't all the way in Atlanta, that's another really good one.
We're considering Dragon Con too, because we've got some friends who do that one. I'm worried about the heat.
Oh, yes, it is a hot one down there. But there are a lot of bodies moving about. So I mean, the heat's a problem. But man, that's a lot of people moving around to see your what you got, and get a chance to go through there. So that might be a good idea. I had a lot of
We
fun
feel
there.
like Gen Con, Gary Con, or Gen Con, Dragon Con, and Origins being the biggest three. That one and PAX Unplugged we're considering too.
Oh, okay,
That
yeah.
was in Philly, yep.
God, there's a lot of people talking about that one this year. I haven't ever
I've
been.
heard a lot of chat. That's good. Well, it just keeps getting more and more popular, you know. You see Dungeons and Dragons and so much more pop culture references now, and you know, movie stars playing it, and so you know, I mean, they always were, right? But now they're admitting it.
Right, yeah.
Coming out of the closet, so to speak. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we were just kind of discussing that a little before we went live. Me and Jeff were, you know, like how there's people like, you know, Vin Diesel and stuff who go like, yeah, I played D&D in this. Actually, this character I played in 3 movies is actually based on a D&D character.
Yeah,
like, you know, yeah, you didn't. I mean, he was kind of the first one, you know, that I remember doing that. But yeah, you're right. There's way more now that come out and talk about that stuff than there ever was, you know, back then. Even I felt like he kind of was the trendsetter for that sort of movement.
It might have been.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
There's a lot of cultural
It's
pieces
exciting,
moving.
too, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the more people we've got rolling dice, the better. You know, I mean, I know there's some guys who are, you know, kind of gatekeepers about it, and they
Seem
want
to
it
be.
to be the old school way, just their four friends and such. But I like it being mixed up with a lot more people and a lot more interesting, different kinds of people playing the game. For me, it's added a lot to my table. You know, I mean. I know now that it's not always just going to be a group going down the hallway with a 10-foot pole, you know, stopping every 5 minutes to check, going back to town to rest after every encounter. Now I've got interesting people doing crazy stuff, trying to hug the lich into submission and stuff, you know. I mean,
Yeah, new ideas, new
still
concepts.
killed them, but you know, at least they tried.
Well, it is cool because we've talked a lot about that. You know, if you get the same group of people, you gel really well, you get to know each other really well, you get to know each other's stories and likes and dislikes. But you also stagnate a bit. And, you know, when you have this new blood kind of get introduced, you get different stories, you get different types of characters, you get different reactions to the same scenes. And, you know, it is important to kind of get out of your shell a little bit and kind of find these other tables and kind of pick up, you know, traits, you know, here and there that you otherwise wouldn't come across, you know?
Right, exactly. I mean, and that's the best part about role-playing games, too, is that they're, you know, people look at it, people who don't play, they're like, oh, that's a 3-inch thick book of rules. And it's like, no, they're all guidelines. They really are. I mean, it's all about imagination and about making things happen. You know, even when I run the live action dungeon, which has more restrictions than a tabletop game, because, it has to.
Right.
I can't climb my foam walls, you know. Or you can't smash through them or else the next group. So what are they gonna do? But even with the restrictions that are inherently in place, I see a lot of diverse solutions to the problems that we pose. You know, I mean, not all of our puzzles are as simple as answer this riddle correctly. Sometimes it can be just like, how are you going to get down that hallway where every square is trapped? You know, and you're surprised how creative people get with that, and how fast they'll sell out some of their own party members.
Really? You got any good examples?
There's a gnome down the hall, that'll set off the traps, right?
You get to really learn something about your friends, you know, when you go through something like that.
Are you suggesting this is not a game you want a pickup group for when you go walking into this thing? You want to come with your own group, right? You're not, this isn't like looking for a healer and WoW. You can't just...
Man.
Well, surprisingly though, people get along really, really well. They like really go through the effort to gel as a group. It's the weirdest thing too, because like we charge a few bucks to go through the thing, and you'll see people. Maybe that's why even you'll see them like really try to like work with each other.
Yeah, they're really
like,
invested.
You know, my once a month Sunday group of buddies from high school, they're ready to sell each other out for a ring of protection, you know.
Man, that's freaking hilarious.
So, how long of an experience is this in one of your standard dungeons that you're doing?
Sure. So it varies. It can vary from convention to convention based on how large we can make it, but generally, we say it's about an hour outside of the dungeon and about an hour inside of the dungeon.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah, that's not too bad.
It's more than just a dungeon crawl. Like, you'll go to it's called the River House Tavern, and that's where you'll get the adventure hook from maybe the bartender or one of the NPCs there, and you might have to do a little puzzle or solve something there or talk to some different, so, I mean, there's more interactions than just the crawl.
Is this a fully stocked tavern? Like
That'll
is this
sell.
like a legit tavern?
Convention.
Man, because that really steps it up a notch in my book.
There
If
is
I get
talk
my
about
tick-
having bartenders at the ski chalet at Gary.
Oh, yes.
Every time I say ski chalet, it makes me happy.
Oh, yeah, it's a giggle fest in itself.
So you just have the parties literally meet at a bar in town, and then you just go grab them from there with a hook, right? And you drag them down to your complex, and then throw them in the dungeon, right? That's how, just like it is in the actual games, right?
It's pretty much like that. Yep. Or it might be one where the characters are more encouraged to you heard the bartender's information, then they go up and talk to him, and he's like, "What do you want? A drink? Yeah, go away." And they're looking at their GM like, "What do I do?" And it's like, you might have to convince the bartender or whatever. So yeah, it's not all. It's fairly clear how to do it. Obviously, we don't want you standing there guessing for 2 hours.
Mhm.
But there's some mystery too. You'll be surprised.
The bartender leans over the bar and nudges the tip jar just a little harder. For those dense players who didn't pick it up the first time.
Roll insight.
And that's the exact kind of thing. Like, again, you'll have a GM with you, so you might be standing there and the bartender might not give you any information. And, yeah, the cleric might be like, well, I roll insight. I've got a good wisdom I want to know. And, yeah, the GM, here you go, roll that die. And, so a lot of things can be determined by the dice, just like in a tabletop game. But a lot of things can go sans dice if all the role play is going really well. Again, just
Nice.
like a table.
Yeah, that is a really good experience. That sounds
I
really
would
fun.
like to mention, though, before I sound like it's just all friendliness and a giveaway to the players, that we do have tournaments at these conventions, too,
Ooh.
where the rules are a lot more strict and the stakes are a lot higher. So, come with your decked-out character and try to win.
So, and is that just a matter of the enemies and the traps and everything are just ramped up to 11, right, on your one? Or is it a, competitive, player versus player experience?
First of all, we do have a hardcore mode you can play where everything is ramped up to 11, and if you die in the first room, too bad, so sad, see you later.
Nice.
We're also going to do a tournament, like a player versus player style tournament. One of them every convention, so a chance to really prove it's got the chops. But it's not just a battle royale. Because, obviously, you put a fighter next to a wizard, and, unless that wizard... Anyway, there's a little more to it. There's, creatures to rescue or creatures to kill, gems to get. It's a points thing.
Gotcha.
Okay.
But while you're getting the points, you can easily get creamed by the other team.
Had you considered doing this 5-on-5 tournaments, like they do with
So we're
video
going-
games, like a sort of deal?
3 right now.
3v3, you said?
5-on-5. Yeah, 3-on-3 right now.
3-on-3.
I like 5-on-5, though. That's every member plus the bard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's favorite fifth character.
And the
It's
other
just
thing would be cool.
everybody's favorite first character. Everyone loves it.
It seems that way
noticed
nowadays. That is a
But
recent thing.
Back when I first started playing, nobody would even touch a bard.
Yeah.
I had a bard NPC, and everyone thought it was the craziest
Mhm.
thing.
Well, it's funny what people gravitate towards. There's a big push, I think, now for more role playing, and I think that's drawing in more actors, into the experience of the hobby, and I think that's drawing more musicians and actors and maybe more of the socialites to the group.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's part of the Critical Role effect. I mean, they're watching people who are by trade voice actors,
Yeah.
and actors playing the game, and that's what they think the game is, for better or for worse.
Mhm.
So of course that's what they're gravitating towards. That's
Oh,
the
yeah,
inspiration
there's
that brought them
usually
into it. Yeah, it does a little bit, doesn't it?
So, what classes do you
They say a
gravitate
rising
towards?
tide lifts all ships, too.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Now, what kind of classes do you gravitate towards?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Oh, so I do like playing a bard. I will admit I'm not really the kind of bard that seduces the whole world, though. I'm more of I see myself as a charming performer kind of thing.
All right, nice.
But that being said, I also love the wizard. I love the idea of the old school wizard of scrounging for all those spells, and each one equals some kind of power or some kind of mastery that you have over the world. So
Yeah,
my favorite character is the GM.
Yeah, the GM has all the tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do
Boy,
like the
I will
wizard.
say this though, I only roll out in the open though. Like on my
Mhm.
tabletop games, I only roll in the open. Let the dice fall where they may.
Say
That's how I
no
play
fudging,
mine,
huh?
too. That's how I play mine too.
It's an interesting debate. Sometimes people get in there and they say, you know, like if the narrative angle is going a certain way, you know, maybe it's okay to fudge dice here and there just to make sure it kind of flows in a certain way. But you're going strict
I say
dice.
It's always okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's your tip.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, it's always okay. It's your tip, you know. But,
Yeah.
Yeah,
'cause,
everyone's.
I mean, I get it. Especially like if I had a group of new players and due to no fault of their own, they were about to just get smoked or whatever. I'd want to be kind.
Mhm.
That's why I roll in the open. That way I can't be.
Sorry, guys, my hands are tied. You know, there's just no getting around this.
My personal argument has always been that if you're gonna fudge anything, then just role play your way back out of whatever the dice do.
Mm.
Like
Well,
let the
you
dice
know-
be the dice, and then just role play your way back out of it. You know, play your
Well,
death.
play
your
let
death.
the dice be the dice, and then
Let the
figure
dice
your
be
way
the
out
dice.
through it.
Yeah, just figure it out after that. You could narrate out anything you want to, but let the dice be the dice. Like,
So I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard somewhere that Gary Gygax said he just rolled behind the screen because he liked to hear the sound.
it could be true. It could totally be true.
I wouldn't be
You never
surprised. That sounds like a thing, you know, because the tactic, you know, the tactile kind of component, you know, is nice. You know, feeling
Were
the dice
there,
rattle.
Were there DM screens in First Ed?
Oh, yeah.
Was there the original DM screens?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those were back in the inception.
You know, that'd be that first DM, right? That was like, my players can see my rolls. This is not good. We can't have that. We need to-
Well, if
Read
you
my
remember in
notes.
first edition, there was a lot of like rolling for moving silently and such like that, where you weren't allowed to know if you had succeeded or not, and such
Mhm.
like that. Too, yeah.
Yeah, a lot more secret rolls.
Those are
Yeah.
good. I like those. You know,
Those are the only time I roll where my players can't see it, is if I'm doing a secret roll. Like,
That's nice. I like to write little post-it notes and hand them to the other players, but like the note just says like "Hi" or "How's it going?" You know, just to freak out everybody else at the table.
just slide it real slow with a grim look
Yep.
on your face. Oh, I love it. Yeah.
the note just has instructions on it, like, look surprised, don't.
Yeah, that's fun.
Get up and leave the room for 5 minutes.
That's right.
Oh man, throw your dice. Yeah, God, it's funny. Yeah. Now, what kind of player do you think you are? Like a lot of times there are different styles of gameplay. You know, some people are more into the X's and O's. Some people are more discovery. Some are more role play centric. You know, like
So
what's your style?
I'm big on world building as a GM. So as a player, I'm really big on kind of the same thing, world exploring. I love to
Oh, okay.
discover different little aspects of the world and meet the different NPCs and stuff like that.
Mhm.
That being said, though, I also like to get in that dungeon and roll some dice. So.
Nice.
Do you-
I actually had a friend of mine say it to me the most accurately I ever heard. He said, when I GM, I love role play. I love hours and hours and hours of role play. But when I'm a player, I really wish the GM would just shut up so I could roll some dice.
That's interesting. That is an interesting little divide there. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if I'd go entirely with that because I do like to role play as a player, but
Mhm.
I like to get a little action into. I'll admit that.
You got to have a nice mix.
I like the excitement that I might die, that that a crit might just be waiting around the corner to take me out.
For sure. It looked like Dustin was going to say something, and I cut him off there.
I was going to ask him if he homebrews his games then.
Yeah, that's
'Cause,
what I was
he's a
going to
very
ask too.
creative guy. Do you like to build your own worlds? I mean, were you one who picked up the old box worlds and was like, hey, here's Forgotten Realms, we're going to play in it? Or did you just do your
Yep.
own thing?
So I've always been a do my. I mean, first of all, we had no money, so I mean, there was no buying the box.
Sounds familiar.
We all understand that.
But no, I've always been about creating my own worlds. I have my own game world for the RPEX game system that's been heavily influenced by the people who have, played with me through these last 20 years. And I've always made my own quests. So making them for RPEX now is just, it's just the best of the quests.
Mm-hmm. That's been our way the whole
I'll tell you
time.
how I became a GM. If you'd
Yeah,
like.
let's hear it. I'd love to hear that.
My friends and I were like 17, and we were trying to play D&D, and we played a couple of we played a couple of box modules with our buddy Craig running it, but he didn't really know how to GM and such. And I came across the DMG and started reading on it. I was just really inspired. Thought it was the greatest thing. So I pitched to all my friends. It's like a group of 8 people. Remember when people used to hang out in groups?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like so long ago.
In the same room?
Right?
So weird.
So I pitched to the group and I say, okay. Oh, by the way, there were girls in the group back then. So for the people who think that girls D&D is new, it's not. I swear.
I think
so
we
I
had
pitched to the group.
just the
and
one.
I say, I would like to be the GM. Would anybody else? And a couple other guys are like, no, I want to be the GM. And I'm like, okay, how about we each make a quest? We get a month to do it, and in a month we come back. We'll all play each other's quests, and we'll have a vote. And whoever makes the best quest wins, gets to be GM forever. Okay. So in a month, I come back, and they agreed we'll play mine first, and it's a travesty. It's like the worst thing in the world. Like, first of all, it makes no sense. It's like 8 rooms, each one just filled with monsters of a different type for no reason. Everybody dies in the first room, which I think was werewolves and vampires.
Oh!
All right? Everybody dies in the first room, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, that wasn't so good. Let's play yours. And that's when everybody admits they had not made one.
Oh!
And therefore, I won as the only guy who created a quest.
Nice.
The level of entry was complete
20
the
years
project.
later, I'm still riding that high.
It's amazing that you were saying that you had a group of people fighting to be the GM. I don't know that I hear that very often.
Not very hard, apparently.
Yeah, well, yeah, no effort in there, but
We drew straws, and Levi drew the shortest one. He's pretty much been DM now for 25 years because of it.
He got
so
unlucky and drew the
that's how
straw.
it goes.
he loves it though.
Maybe they just convinced me I was competing for it.
See, we did a little different. We just all rolled a bunch of dice, and Levi's all came up 1, and we're like, "You're the GM. You got the worst rolls."
It's true, man. He could chuck like 12d6 fireball at us, and we'll take 12. Just
He's
sounds like
lighting up chat at the moment too. So he's
sounds like unholy hell just breaking loose behind the screen. It's like 12.
I like that. You guys just made him the GM.
Yep.
You roll a bunch of dice. Oh, 1s mean you're the GM. Sorry.
that's right.
Worked out for us though. He's puts out some really quality content.
That's awesome.
Got a great DM.
That's
Love that
one
guy.
thing I won't let my players do. I've noticed players like to do this. They'll be sitting at the table, messing with their dice,
Mhm.
and they'll come to their turn, and they'll try to roll the die first, and then say what they did.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, they roll the die, and they're like, oh, I attack. I rolled an 18. I'm like, well, you rolled the 18 before you said you attacked.
Well,
I guess it doesn't matter as much in 5th edition or in RPEX where high results are always good. But remember, old school D&D, sometimes you needed to, often you needed to roll low.
Roll low on those to hit rolls.
if you were doing any kind of strength check or anything like that, you had to roll under your score. So
Back in the dark ages. Dark ages of the tacos.
as somebody who is someone who's primarily a DM, do you find it harder to be a player then? When you're sitting there and you're like, that's not what I would have done. That's not how I would have ruled. Like, do you get that urge to?
My personal opinion on that is that, I don't want to give myself too much credit, but it takes a certain level of maturity to let go of the fact that you're not in control of this game. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I do okay. I give myself a C-.
Oh man.
I said it takes maturity. I didn't say I had it. No, I do think that's the most important thing. As a player who's used to being a GM, you gotta let it go and realize that they're going to make their kind of quest and they're going to run it their way. And if they think you need to roll to tie your shoes and a fumble means that your shoes catch on fire, well, you just got to go with it. They're the GM.
Yeah.
Well, there's a learning curve to being a GM, and I think a lot of people have a hard time getting into it because they have a great DM, and they're used to that experience, and they know their table's used to that experience, so they don't want to come in and screw it up. Yeah, but it's we talking about this a lot with people in our group, it's worth just trying, like it is a skill you can develop over time. You learn stuff along the way, and it's just a valuable thing to do within the game, because it makes you a much better player in the long run, I would imagine.
I agree.
Yeah.
We're seeing some.
Mistake,
oh, go ahead.
I think a big mistake new GMs make is, since it's so appealing to want to create your own world and your own classes and your own spells and your own this and your own that they try to do all of that, and then they find that it gets away from them really fast.
Oh,
I would say
yeah.
the new GMs, just a cave with some orcs. Let's have some fun,
Yep.
I mean, find the magic ring at the end. Everyone's going to be really happy, I think.
Keep it simple and then accessorize over
save
time.
the intrigue for, session 4 or 5 once you've got a better feel for how your players are going to act.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially if you're dealing with people you don't play with regularly. Like,
Right.
you knock out a campaign or two of the same group, you got a good idea what you're dealing with. But yeah, those early
absolutely.
games with new people, you got to keep it simple until you know who you got at your table.
Got to get your improv skills under your belt.
That's one thing I like about conventions. It's like a new group all the time. It's very fun.
Right.
Yeah, we got a little chat down there.
We do. We have a little chat going on here. Our DM Levi says he's not very good at handing over the reins to other people, and it's all right. I think he does a pretty good job, but I'm sure inside it
Doesn't
kills
sound
him
like
every
he
time.
needs to.
Yeah.
We try to make it easy on Levi by we'll often pick a different system than D&D, because he's like our D&D DM. But then, like, the rest of us, when we decide to give him a break and like run something, we often will find some other system to run so that
is nice.
it ain't the same set of rules. It makes it a little easier on him sometimes, So.
No, I get that. Yeah, definitely.
And
You
then-
ever try to sit down with like the development team for a game?
Oh, no.
Play a game with them? It's nearly impossible. They know every rule and everything.
I've done that with board games.
I've got an open invite. I just haven't had an opportunity to go do it yet, but I've got an open invite to go play with a creator of a system. And it'll be some fun if I ever get an opportunity to do so.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. That was
You got fights now, because now you got an invite to come play our system too.
Oh,
That'd
nice.
be awesome.
Definitely, man.
If we're definitely going to be at Gen Con, so I'm definitely going to keep a note here to look for you when we're over there and see if I can find some tickets or whatever to maybe try this. If we're all going as a group, I think, or at least we're hoping to. So if we get enough of us there, we'll definitely go. Is a group 4 or 5 people, 6? Can you handle 6 or 7? Like, what's a group size for RPEX?
It depends on the con. For Gen Con, it'll be 6, I believe. For Game Hole right now, we're running it at 5.
Okay.
Not
So, yeah,
bad.
that's coming up in a couple weeks, so we got some spots there, I think. So.
Very
Okay.
cool.
Well, that'd be cool. I can't make it to Game Hole this year, unfortunately, but definitely next year we get hit a couple of those early cons in. We'll definitely keep an eye out for you.
Absolutely.
I'm going to do my best to sneak out of the dealer's room a couple times and get out from behind the booth. Go explore.
That's the problem I have, too. I have a hard time getting away from what I'm doing in order to go see anything else.
Yeah, it's weird. You go to these shows and it's the same scene every time. It's the booth across the way from you and a sea of people just going by.
I mean,
Well, I look forward to the nightlife, personally.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
oh yeah.
God, it's so much
I mean,
fun.
I suppose in a way, if you are a regular at the conventions, eventually the other people at the conventions seem more like your coworkers, right? Like,
Yeah.
you show
A little
up to
bit,
work,
yeah,
there they all are
absolutely.
again. Like,
Or even like a family almost, like a little extended family. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been an interesting thing is going like, because I don't go to all the cons, I go here and there to help dad out. And, even then, just with like the once or twice a year, different cons, like you do see the same crew of people. I mean, there's obviously different people here and there, but like the core seems to be very consistent. Like everyone's talking to each other, suggesting
It's a really small industry. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like so small. I mean, don't get mad at anybody that say something bad. I mean, everyone will hear about it fast.
Oh, for sure.
It's a small industry.
Well, and it's pretty cool too, because that gives you an opportunity to really have a part of it. So you can get in there and be influential in some way.
Yeah, absolutely.
we got our buddy Fruitzilla's back. He says, "Nightlife, okay, I'm down." Fruit, I don't know if you saw the episode we did with Stefan Picorni, but he came to us live from a bar at Gen Con. And
Mhm.
it is a hell of a looking nightlife going on around there.
Oh, yeah.
So it was,
He was having a good time.
I have video of me and Picorni that I will not share with you guys.
Yeah, he looks like a guy who can party.
I would
And
say,
let me say, Stefan is not just a great party guy, and he is. He is an awesome party guy, but he's just a great guy, too. I mean, a truly remarkable and generous creative artist spirit right
Yeah, he was a lot of fun.
And likes to party.
He's got the right music under his belt. He likes to drink. He likes to do art. He likes to put together some awesome tiles. It's so many good things.
Thank you, Fruitzilla, for the mega cheer. He
Oh,
shared
yeah.
with 19 other people in the chat.
Woo!
So
Good grief. Another
congratulations those who
1,000
got a
bit
little
donations,
piece of
too.
Fruitzilla cheer there. So
Thank you, man. Yeah, he is a patron saint over here.
That is excellent.
Yeah, so we need to get some parties going at these cons and just get to hang out.
I'm going to send you a picture of the last party I threw at Gary Con. Right? I'm going to do that right.
Nice. Yeah, because, this is the thing I'm really enjoying about this. We're going to get out there, go to the cons, start networking a little bit, get to actually hang out with some of you guys. And, because that's the thing you don't always get to do. Like, with Dad, he's usually, in super early in the morning, has to leave, to go put together pieces of art or something to bring it back.
Oh, there we go. You guys are back.
Oh, there you are. But,
after 11 o'clock up here in Wisconsin, they just turn it off.
Does it do like the old sign off like the TV stations used to do, where it plays the music and like you see the flag wave and then it just goes to snow? That's how it.
Oh, man, you're making me admit how old I am. Here.
Yeah, well, I remember it too, man. That was like the weirdest thing. The TV just ends.
If you fell asleep watching anything and then that came on, it was like it woke you up so you could turn your TV off and then go back to bed. It's just how it works.
Oh man,
No, it's true.
It's kind of
I don't even
interesting.
know what the point of that was.
I don't know.
Either.
Probably somebody stuck at work actually has to hold the button on, make sure it's going.
They're holding. I'm sorry.
Just
They're holding the button on. That's so good.
One more job that's been lost to technology
Yep.
over the years.
Dude's sitting there on the exercise bike trying to keep the generator going. Finally gets to log off.
It's Jetson.
Yeah, he's the George Jetson.
I'm gonna have that. His finger would be hurting because of pressing that button all day.
It is kind of interesting though that a lot of the people that are in the community now are kind of in the similar age group. Like it seems like there's a generation that's kind of come up now that's kind of taking the mantle a little bit. Maybe
yeah,
it's
kind of this middle generation. Yeah, like
Mhm.
the mantle's been passed a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's cool seeing that kind of develop up and take the new technology and kind of make something out of it. And that's one of the things I'm really enjoying about doing this show is we get to kind of bring our hobby to kind of a scene that normally wouldn't see it, and finding other channels that are doing something similar, broadcasting games, sharing the love of the hobbies, sharing the love of different hobbies, whether it's art, music, role-playing games, board games, whatever. And, bringing people together so they can kind of cross-pollinate, share their stuff, and, just show each other what they have. And
Absolutely.
it's been great, man. I've come across more stuff than I would have ever imagined. And, now I go to these cons, I'm looking around, I'm like, oh, I've talked to that person. That's awesome. Let's go hang out, like.
Well, yeah.
So, hopefully we'll get a little bit of that going.
Right on. Well, that's the best thing is when technology can bring people together. And, artists and creatives are always, throughout history, have always been on the forefront of the newest technology and the newest ideas. I mean, that's our job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's effectively new toys you get to play with. Like,
Nothing but
Exactly.
innovation, man. Nothing but innovation. We're getting some comments about our beards here.
That word innovation, and it's like that's the thing for me. That was the main appeal about games like Dungeons and Dragons is that
Mhm.
you could innovate immediately. I mean, in order to create RPEX, we had to create props, we had to create connections, we've got to do all this stuff. In order to say that the Kingdom of Rosemary has a tavern that has an 8-foot tall orange blossom that blooms once every 5 years, all I got to do is make it up like I just did just now.
Right,
It's
right.
like you can just do it as fast as you want, anything you want. That's what I love about these games the most.
Yeah.
it really puts the foot down on the accelerator of creativity,
Mhm.
and you just go.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. I just sent you guys my world map and a picture of one of the parties we threw at Gary.
Oh, fantastic.
Where did you send it to? Is it on is it the Gmail? Did you send it?
I just keep replying to Dustin's email, yeah.
Okay, so I've got it. I'll look it up here. I don't know if I got a way to pop it up here on the screen or anything for it, but I'll definitely take a look at it here.
Yeah, well, we'll get it in the Discord chat later. Which, by the way, if you're in the chat right now in the stream and you aren't part of our Discord chat, you should definitely go check it out. We'll toss you a link. Actually, I believe there's a link down in the description down below. And you can come on, chat with people, share some ideas and, promote your own content if you have some. For instance, we'll probably be putting that Kickstarter link in there somewhere for you there. And, there's a lot of cool projects going around. There's a lot of people getting out there, being creative, doing some just really awesome stuff. And, it's a great opportunity to get out there and network. And, there's never a time where networking is going to be a problem for you. It's always opening a door somewhere. Yeah.
These conventions just have such great opportunities. I've gotten to meet so many people that I thought were, untouchable, basically.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to not only meet them, but talk with them, ask them their advice. I mean, and get real feedback. It's a great time to be in this industry because it's still young enough that you can still talk to a lot of these original creators and really find out what they were thinking. I mean, you can ask, what were you guys thinking when you came out with Unearthed Arcana? And they'll tell you. Well, I won't bother spoiling it. I'll let them tell you.
All right. I did just pop your world map into our Discord general channel. So those of you out there, if you want, I'm going to drop a link to our Discord in chat actually at the moment. So anyone who's in there who's not currently in our Discord, this is your opportunity to hop in.
Rock it out.
Oh, sweet. Now, how do I make sure that my friends can jump in on it right now?
Yeah. Well, if they're watching the stream, if you scroll below us there, we have a handy dandy little link that says join our Discord. And you should be able to just click on that. It should take you straight to it. There's also a lot of other links down there as well. You'll see links to our sponsors, Die Hard Dice there. And you'll see some of our stream team that we're affiliated with there. So you'll see the Grouch Couch and Air Laser and the Liching Hour. And definitely go check out their content at some point. And you can see,
check that out. I like that idea, the Liching Hour. That's great.
Yeah, he's going to be a guest on Wisdom Trek in a couple of weeks. So you can tune back in a couple of weeks. You'll see him here.
Yeah, it's a really interesting concept. It's Dustin could describe it a little better than I can, but
I was going to get to that here at the end of the show. We announced the next couple weeks worth of guests.
Well, we'll save it for then.
We'll get to that at the end. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here. I don't want to start.
If I talk about that now, what will I talk about then?
Yeah, I don't want to get to the outro too quickly here. I mean,
definitely.
Oh, Fruitzilla found 5 more people he hadn't subbed yet. Thank you, Fruit.
God, he's up to 110.
5 more subs. He's up to 110 now in our.
Oh, and you were looking for 100, and they just blew that on the wall.
This is ridiculous, man.
He's just keeping on going. So thank you, Fruit.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I don't know Fruitzilla, but I can tell you, it's a handful of key followers, fans, supporters, whatever you want to call them, that really make the difference for me too. So, Fruitzilla, I thank you on their behalf as I'm basically thanking my Fruitzillas out there.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean that's an interesting thing because a lot of people wonder how in the world do you get started doing stuff. How do you just start? Like it sounds like you just started with the street art. But like, how do you just start with making tables or, making a game or, coming up with this massive concept, that you're doing? Like, who are you meeting that's helping you kind of get going? Or is this all self-start or, what's happening?
Well, I mean, a lot of it is self-started. I'll admit
wow.
that, a lot of it is a combination of ambition and ignorance, just not knowing how much work it's going to be when I start it, and then by the time I'm halfway through, I'm like, wow, I'm not quitting now.
Just too stubborn to turn around at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And and as far as the art was, the art was different in that the art was almost about finding people who would tolerate my existence. That's a funny thing about being a street artist is the better you do, the bigger crowd you get, which the more of a nuisance now somehow you are. it's a weird,
Just
a weird
threaten
balance,
it.
you know.
Oh man, that's
but
wild.
I was really glad to just find accepting people that were happy to, applaud my efforts and buy artwork, obviously.
Oh, for sure. Now, do you have any
But getting
mentors?
started, I would say to people, just go do it. Just
Mhm.
do it. Do it until somebody tells you you're doing it wrong, and then fix it or argue with them.
And then really do it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the city of Madison at one point, after I'd been doing it for 2 years, they voted to outlaw spray paint art, and I had to go plead my case and fight about it, and I won, and it was no big deal, and got to get in the
pretty
newspaper
cool.
and all that. But I mean, you like the Beastie Boys say, you have to fight for your right to party.
So what you're saying is the same two cops that ticketed you for being out there on the street then had to stand outside the retaining area there while you painted a mural on the wall that the city commissioned. Is what you're saying?
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah, exactly. 1 month I'm getting shut down. The next month I'm okay. The next year I'm being asked to speak at the university. So I mean,
God, that's
crazy.
crazy trajectory.
If you keep what you're doing, just keep doing it. I mean, plenty of opportunities to give up. And the same thing with the RPEX thing. It's taken us years to get to the point where we can even start trying to make money from it. So obviously we had to have faith in it for a long time. Thank you, everybody who bought a table, by the way. So, but I think that's the most important thing. If you've got something you want to do in your life, I mean, give it a try, because otherwise you're going to regret it. I mean, I knew a woman once who worked at like a nursing home, and she, due to her religion, she helped a lot of people go on to the next world or whatever, right? And she said that the number one thing people said before they died is they wish they would have followed their dream. They wish they would have even tried, So, now I'm getting preachy.
It's good, man. We do this from time to time. I like doing it. Like it's I don't know. It's part of what's really interesting about this is we've had a lot of people come on and tell their story of how they got going. A lot of what we're doing is origin stories, I guess, in a way. Just trying to figure out how you got into gaming, how you got into your success. What sorts of things can people try to do to follow in the footsteps of other successful people. And, I think it's really important to see those examples in the community of people who figured it out, that took the risks, tried things, went against the odds and that kind of stuff, because it paves the way for everyone else.
Absolutely. In Grand Rapids, the city that I was doing that large art competition in the last 7 years, now there's tons of spray paint artists there. I go there now, and I go to the schools and stuff, and they're showing me the different things they're doing and such. Yeah, it is. It's very cool. It's very fun.
Now, do you mentor anybody, or kind of pass on the gift, or is that something that hasn't started up, or?
So I have a small artist troupe of people that I've taken under my wing, and I've shown a thing or two, and I'm very proud of every one of them.
Nice.
You know how it is with art. It doesn't. It's not the same calling for everybody.
Right.
So there have been people I've taken under my wing who have done it for a few years and then have gone on to do other things, and there are other people who take it really seriously. So I mean, it all depends. I'll give a shout out to Gordon Millay right now. He's probably one of the most talented young artists that I've ever met. He's currently going to school at. I'm sorry, man. I lost it on the university. It'll come to me later. I'll look it up. But yeah, very talented artist. You can see some of his art. We've got some of it for some of our projects and stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I think it's also important too. Like a lot of people want to have the attitude of, they're perfect just because they came that way and they didn't have to learn anything from anybody, and blah, blah, blah. And I think that's the biggest mistake you can make. The best thing you can have is people to look up to. Like, I really look up to, like Gary Gygax or like Larry Elmore or, these are people that really have created wonderful, amazing things. And the desire to emulate the things they've done is, I think that's a great motivator, personally.
Yeah, for sure. Because we say it a lot, but, we stand on the shoulders of giants to kind of get where we're going.
That's exactly right. 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, we're only able to get to where we're at, because of the foundation they've laid for us. And there's chances to kind of innovate in new ways and take the hobby in different directions. And, we're doing a lot of different things that maybe weren't really evident in the games, like the surge of really heavy role plays, seems a little bit more modern.
I think so. I think it was very dungeon crawl focused before coming from wargaming.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and even the way we used to play, I remember when we were first playing when we were younger, at least half the group thought that the role-playing part was annoying. And, like, if we start at 6 and the combat doesn't start until 8, can I just show up at 8,
Wow.
We got a comment coming in here from Flop Jalopy, I'm pretty sure is his Twitter handle, actually. It says, something technology allows us now is to see the struggle artists that they do struggle, helps to know that they aren't perfect. And that is interesting when you look at something like Twitch, where I was talking to Jeff earlier. Like, we have a friend of the channel, Zombie Decoy, and I can sit and watch him create his art live and talk to him while he's working on it. And so it's interesting to see the process he goes through making a piece of digital art. You can see the entire process, and you can see him, like, how many times he redoes a line, or starts something and then, like, redoes it again. Like, you can see that whole process take place instead of just seeing the final product. Like, it is interesting to see
appreciation for it.
Yeah, we got a couple guys in our group here. So Cam is a musician, so's Clint, and then we've got Levi, who's an artist. And I would like to personally see them launch a show where they do something like that, where they come on and start just showing what they do, going through the process, maybe, talk about why they do certain things while they're doing their particular medium, and, create something with the audience, and then kind of go from there. Because I do think that process and understanding what goes into something, that it doesn't just it doesn't just appear fully assembled, the thing you see at the end. That's really important to understand what goes into it, and to really appreciate the artist and what they are able to do,
That's
and understand
true.
that progress.
They say that a fan will love the work, but a real fan will love the process.
Yeah. And I think you get a lot out of it, just understanding what the artist's, maybe not intention, but like the process, there's something that makes that more personal, that you get to share that with somebody. And I'm definitely going to be checking out those videos to see you doing the street art, because that sounds really cool.
I love painting pictures in front of people, because it was a chance to connect with, even in just 5 minutes, to connect with everybody watching on at least a small level, because they could see the process right from the start to the finish. The main thing people would ask me afterwards, they say, did you plan that before you painted it? And I'm always like, yep, I aimed the paint onto the canvas on purpose.
So it was all kind of improvised? You just kind of came in and just took it where it went? Or did you have something pre-planned?
Our art is everything's planned out. Nothing's planned out, right? I planned on painting a moon, but I was also surprised how it came out.
It's something that's always eluded me, because my dad's an artist, so I grew up watching him do this stuff, and I got good at knowing what was good and what wasn't. And then I'd sit down and start drawing or something, and be like, I'm terrible, and just like call it quits.
They call that the talent gap.
Yep.
Like you have a good enough eye to know what's good, but your hands can't do it yet. So you sit there and hate yourself for a while.
Yeah, I'm a talentless hack like that. That's why I don't do any of that stuff. I just run the social media, and I get on here, look pretty, and talk. That's like my job here at TT2KB, is to be a guy who just talks a lot and runs social media. I can do that part, but the creative aspect of it, I'm no good at. So
that sounds like a pretty decent job, I think. Looking pretty and talking.
He's doing pretty good at it.
It's real hard.
I'm telling you, once we have to go to the cons and drink with people and talk and hang out, be social, God, it's asking a lot of us.
It's pretty great. I can tell you the funniest thing, at the biggest con of all, at Gen Con, I almost never party at all. Too much to do. So exhausted.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you, we time on at Gary Con.
Mm-hmm.
You guys will definitely have to come to that one. But I'll be seeing you in a couple weeks at Game Hole, too. So.
Definitely, man. We'll get together, have a drink, chit-chat, have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very fun convention.
Definitely. Well, we are kind of getting close to that the time we normally wrap things up, start doing our outros. So maybe we can kind of get to that point here. And let's do some more plug-in real quick of your products and what people can do to kind of get in touch with you. And we've been trying to put your links out there for you, but let's just kind of go over them one more time just to make sure it's nice and fresh.
Sure. Well, obviously, we're known for creating custom game tables. We're happy to, contact us about those. We make a number of really interesting dice like Magic Missile D4s and Fireball D6s and such like that. But our big project is the RPEX full-scale dungeon. We're kicking off the Kickstarter for it tomorrow, where you can get some magic items in advance in the form of beautiful soft enamel pins. It's your chance to come to a convention where we have the dungeon and explore the dungeon, watch out for traps, fight monsters with a D20 system, and just get to be your character. So that's what we're all about right now. So that launches tomorrow, or since you're probably watching this in the future, yesterday.
It's so cool, man. That's going to be really something awesome to see, and I'm looking forward to that. And
I don't know if that's the same with all Kickstarters, but it looks like your Kickstarter is going to run for about 20 days.
We're going to do 25 days on ours. I do need to change that. Thanks for reminding me.
Okay, it says 20 days to go, and today is day 0. So I was just going to point out that, based on when anyone who's watching this might see this later, either here or when we get it up on YouTube, which we will have to prioritize and get up as quick as we can.
Yeah, I'll get that up quick.
We'll have sort of stuff, and we'll make sure that you guys can get direct contact here to Cosmo Joe's his work and his Kickstarter for sure to help get that thing funded. So
yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
Yeah, what's your target goal for this Kickstarter?
Our goal is only $10,000 because that'll be enough to get the pins produced. But between you and me, my goal is $50,000 because that'll get us the pins produced plus a lot of really sweet upgrades for the dungeon.
Nice.
Do you have them listed on here as stretch goals? I was trying to see if I could find stretch goals on here. Oh yeah, you do.
The stretch goals are listed under the charms, and as we hit the stretch goals, the charms unlock, and some of the tiers get every charm that unlocks. So.
Yeah, I was just seeing that. Okay, yep, there it is. Yep, I hate the way sometimes Kickstarter's done because sometimes some of the most important stuff is all the way down at the bottom. You got to scroll miles. It seems like to get down there to some of that info. That's a Kickstarter thing.
Kickstarter now, you have to choose to go to the campaign. They just put you on the rewards. It's like, here, you just want the stuff.
Right. This is what you get. Now go see if you can find anything else that you want to actually learn about while you're on here.
Definitely. So that's going to be cool. I'm sure we got some folks in the chat that are going to be really interested in that stuff, and hopefully they help light you up there and get you pushed across the finish line. So that would be nice.
Thanks, everyone.
Definitely.
Jeff, why don't you tell them a little bit about your stuff, where they can find you at these days?
Yeah, sure. I'm still taking a bit of a break from the Let's Play content that I was putting out on YouTube. But if you are interested in video games and hard mode stuff and, kind of the struggle of video games, you can enjoy my content over at Rain Survives on YouTube. And if you're looking for our back catalog of Tabletop to Keyboard, go to Tabletop, 2, Keyboard on YouTube as well, and you'll find all of our old content there. And as we're putting out new stuff, like Dustin's going to be talking about something he's doing here soon, I'm going to be editing up his videos, putting those up there as well. And as we expand the channel and get more shows going, you'll be able to find all that stuff on there. So never feel like you are going to miss out if you can't make it live. Obviously come live because it's best. But, if you miss it, you want to catch up, it's all going to be on there ready for you. And then, Dustin, tell us a little bit about what in the world we got going on.
All right. Well, this is Tabletop to Keyboard. Every Monday, 10 p.m., you'll find us here, me and Jeff, doing the Wisdom Check, where we have our special guest, a new special guest every week that we can possibly find somebody to come here and talk game with us for 2 hours. We seek far and wide. So if you're out there and you want to come talk game with us, just hit me up. We'll probably book you for a day, find a couple cool topics. We'll sit here and talk about it for as long as we can possibly stand to. And next week, we have... I lost my list. Hold on a second.
Amateur hour.
It's back to amateur hour. Sorry. Next week's guest here on the Wisdom Check, we have Alexander Wrights, 91, who is a writer for one of the game companies, and he's going to talk a little bit about how being a writer affects you as a DM.
Oh, cool.
The following week, as we mentioned earlier, we have the Liching Hour coming here. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't checked him out, he is one of our partners on our stream team. You can find links for him down in the panels. He does a lot of solo role play stuff using either storytelling card games or board games, where you can watch him play the board game, talk to him live as he's playing it, and then everything that happens in that game, he turns into a role play experience right there before your eyes. Plays every NPC and player character there is for everything he does there. It's actually quite unique, is the word I would use. It is a truly unique experience that I can't wait to get to talk to the guy live. So.
Yeah, he's always in character from what I can see. Like every time he's chatting in the comments and everything, it's always in character. It's great.
So
cool.
That's our next couple of guests we have lined up for the next couple of weeks. The following Monday after that, just because we are doing a giveaway that night, we have the people from Found Familiar Coffee who do D&D inspired coffee blends, and they're going to be doing a coffee giveaway that night. So if you're a sub, if you are on the receiving end of all those wonderful Fruitzilla gifted subs he's been dropping on you, make sure you show up that night and you'll have a chance at winning you some Found Familiar coffee.
Fantastic.
On top of that, you will find me every other Thursday. This week is not the Thursday, but the following Thursday, you will find me at 9 p.m. running a Zweihander RPG game called The Terror in Treefell. We'll be ready for episode 2. I will be dropping the title for that episode later this week, so keep your eye out for that. Starting tomorrow, however, and I think I'm going to be streaming it here on TT2KB at noon, I'm going back to the world of ArcAge. That's right, I'm also an MMO player, and I'm a glutton for punishment. And my guildmates have gotten me to come back for the relaunch of ArcAge.
Good Lord,
man.
I
put in 19,000 hours over 5 years. And so tomorrow begins day 1 all over again. Launch is at noon, so when we hop off here, I got to start working on my overlay, get everything ready for tomorrow. So tune in around noon. You maybe find me here playing some ArcAge.
And we do have a question here from Fruitzilla. Joe, he's asking you if everything on your site goes to support you.
Well, me and my crew, yes.
You and your crew. Okay. It says something.
We are a for-profit company, yep.
Yeah, he says all says tickets. I'm not sure what that means, but I said I would ask. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I do believe we do have some tickets on there for September 28th. Yeah, we have a special local event that we're going to do here where people can come play some RPEX, and yeah, we have some tickets for sale on the site. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, well, hopefully that answers your question there, Fruitzilla. If not, send me a message, and I'll see if I can wire it down, and we'll get you squared up. But definitely go check it out.
Answer the question if anybody brings over 100 subscribers.
Definitely. Yeah, Fruit, you are incredibly supportive.
Support your project, so he just wants to make sure he knows what he's doing is going to support your project there, Cosmo Joe.
Absolutely. Any table you buy, any dice you buy, anything you buy through our website supports the RPEX project. Absolutely.
Perfect.
All right, Fruitzilla. So happy shopping, Fruit.
Make us proud. And I appreciate you guys checking out the content of the people we bring on, because these folks are doing a wonderful thing, coming on, spending some time with us, and carving out that time that I know is so precious. So yeah, thank you again, Joe. I appreciate you coming here, and hopefully we'll get to hang out sometime soon.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Well, all right, folks. Thank you all for coming, and we'll be out. We'll see you next Monday.